The Grand Galactic Council chamber buzzed with an air of anticipation and unease. Delegates from 1,000 worlds shifted in their seats, their varied anatomies creating a symphony of rustles, clicks, and whispers. At the center of the vast amphitheater stood Ambassador Zixlor of the Draconian Imperium, his scales gleaming under the chamber's ethereal lights. Beside him, a sight that sent ripples of shock through the assembly, a human adorned in shimmering robes that accentuated its pale skin and rounded features. The human's eyes darted nervously around the room, taking in the myriad of alien forms with a mixture of wonder and fear. High Counselor Aona, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, spoke first. Her voice resonated through the chamber, a chorus of harmonics that translated simultaneously into every language. Ambassador Zixlor, explain the presence of this creature in our sacred halls. Zixlor's forked tongue flicked out, tasting the tension in the air. Esteemed members of the Council, I present to you specimen H21A7, a prime example of the species known as human. It serves as both a trophy and a reminder of the Draconian Imperium's rightful claim to the planet Earth. Murmurs of outrage rippled through the chamber. A Quarren delegate, his tentacles writhing in agitation, rose from his hovering platform. This is an outrage. Humans are a protected species under the Galactic Charter. Their presence here violates countless regulations. Zixlor's reptilian features stretched into what passed for a smile among his kind. I assure you, honored delegates, that my actions are entirely within the bounds of legality. If you'll recall, 10 cycles ago, this very council passed an amendment to the Charter allowing for the preservation of universal balance through cultural exchange programs. The chamber erupted into chaos as delegates conferred with their aides, searching through vast databases of intergalactic law. High Counselor Aona's form pulsed with barely contained energy. Silence! Her harmonics cut through the din, restoring order. Ambassador Zixlor speaks the truth. The amendment was indeed passed, though its intended purpose was far different from this: display. The human, unable to understand the myriad of alien languages, trembled slightly. Zixlor placed a clawed hand on its shoulder, a gesture that appeared comforting but sent a visible shudder through the human's frame. Perhaps, Zixlor continued, his voice silky smooth, it would benefit the Council to understand the full context of this situation. After all, history is written by the victors, is it not? With a gesture, he activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. Images of ancient Earth flickered to life, showing vast reptilian cities and towering pyramids. For eons, my people nurtured the Earth, cultivating its resources to fuel our expanding civilization. We uplifted the primitive apes that would become humanity, shaping them into a servitor race to aid in our great works. The images shifted, showing scenes of humans working alongside draconians, building monuments that defied the understanding of current Earth scholars. But our paradise was stolen from us. Zixlor's voice took on a harder edge. The Aldebaran Consortium, in their jealousy and greed, manipulated this very council. They claimed we had violated the Charter by enslaving the humans, conveniently ignoring the fact that we had created them for that very purpose. Several of the older delegates shifted uncomfortably, remembering the contentious debates of that era. On a mere technicality, we were forced to abandon Earth, retreating to the outer reaches of the galaxy. We watched as the humans, left to their own devices, nearly destroyed themselves countless times. The Aldebaran Consortium's protection amounted to nothing more than neglect. Zixlor's eyes narrowed, sweeping across the assembled delegates. We grew in numbers and power, yes, but it was not out of a desire for conquest, but to reclaim what was rightfully ours. When we threatened to destabilize the Council's power structure, you chose appeasement over justice. The human beside Zixlor shifted nervously, its gaze darting between the ambassador and the assembled aliens. Its presence served as a living testament to the complex history unfolding before the Council. High Counselor Aona's crystalline form pulsed with a mix of colors, reflecting her internal conflict. The decision to allow the Draconians limited governance over Earth was not made lightly. The restrictions placed on human treatment were meant to prevent the abuses of the past. Zixlor nodded, his scaled head catching the light. And we have adhered to those restrictions meticulously. Specimen H2187 is well cared for, educated, and serves a vital role as a cultural liaison. Its presence here today is a symbol of the new era of cooperation between Draconians and humans. A Pleiadian representative, her luminous skin shimmering with starlight, stood to address the council. While the legality of this arrangement may be sound, we cannot ignore the ethical implications. Humans are sentient beings, not mere pets or trophies. The chamber erupted once more into heated debate. Species that had long stood as rivals found themselves reluctant allies in opposition to the Draconians' actions, while others saw an opportunity to curry favor with the powerful Imperium. Amidst the chaos, the human suddenly stepped forward, its voice ringing out clear and strong, despite the translator implant embedded at the base of its skull. "Esteemed members of the council, I am called Sarah," the human said, surprising even Zexlor with its boldness. "I stand before you not as a slave or a pet, but as a representative of humanity." The chamber fell silent, all eyes and sensory organs fixed on the small, fragile-looking being at its center. "For too long, my people have been pawns in a game played by forces beyond our comprehension. We have been uplifted, abandoned, protected, and reclaimed, but we are more than the sum of these actions." Sarah's eyes blazed with an inner fire that seemed to captivate even the most jaded of the delegates. Yes, the Draconians shaped our early development. Yes, the Aldebaran Consortium's protection was flawed. But in the time between, humanity has grown, evolved, and begun to reach for the stars on our own terms. Zixlor moved to interrupt, but a sharp look from High Counselor Aeona stopped him in his tracks. "I come before you today, not as a trophy or a statement piece, but as a bridge between the past and the future, between humanity and the galactic community. We no longer wish to be a prize to be won or a resource to be exploited. We seek partnership, understanding, and a place among the stars." The council chamber buzzed with a new energy. Many delegates were moved by Sarah's words, seeing the human species in a new light. Others remained skeptical, clinging to old prejudices and political alliances. High Counselor Aeona's form pulsed with a brilliant light. "You speak with wisdom beyond your years, Sarah of Earth. Your words have given this council much to consider." Zixlor, realizing the shifting tide of opinion, quickly interjected. "Indeed, Specimen, Sarah's eloquence is a testament to the Draconian education system. We have always sought to elevate humanity, to prepare them for their rightful place in the galactic community." A Syrian delegate, his canine features set in a thoughtful expression, spoke up. "Perhaps it is time we revisited the terms of Earth's governance. If humans have truly progressed to this level, they deserve a seat at the table, not as pets or proxies, but as equals." The suggestion sent shockwaves through the assembly. The idea of elevating a species so young, so recently emerged on the galactic stage, was unprecedented. Yet, as the delegates looked at Sarah, standing tall and proud despite her circumstances, many found themselves considering the possibility. "A motion has been presented," High Counselor Aeona announced, her harmonics resonating with gravitas. "We shall put it to a vote, to establish a committee to review Earth's status and the potential for human representation in the Galactic Council." As the voting commenced, Sarah caught Zixlor's eye. The Draconian ambassador's expression was unreadable, but Sarah could sense a mix of grudging respect and calculation behind those reptilian eyes. As the votes were tallied, a commotion erupted near the back of the chamber. A massive, tentacled creature, an exhibit from the galactic zoo that had somehow escaped, burst through the doors, its bioluminescent hide pulsing with agitation and fear. Panic spread through the assembly as delegates scrambled for safety. Security drones activated, their weapons trained on the creature. But before they could fire, Sarah broke away from Zexlor's side and approached the beast. "Wait," she called out, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Don't harm it." To the astonishment of all present, Sarah walked calmly towards the creature, her hands outstretched in a non-threatening gesture. The beast, easily 20 times her size, focused its compound eyes on her small form. "It's okay," Sarah said softly, her voice carrying a soothing quality that seemed to resonate on a frequency beyond normal hearing. "You're scared, aren't you? This place is too bright, too noisy for you." The creature's tentacles, which had been lashing about destructively, began to slow their frantic movements. It let out a low, rumbling sound that vibrated through the chamber. Sarah placed a hand gently on one of its tentacles. There, that's better. You need darkness and pressure, don't you? Like the depths of your home ocean. To the council's amazement, the creature began to calm, its bioluminescence fading to a soft, pulsing glow. Sarah turned to address the stunned assembly. This being isn't violent. It's terrified and out of its element. The zoo's habitats aren't suitable for its needs. It requires specific conditions to thrive. High Counselor Aona floated forward, her crystalline form shimmering with curiosity. How is this possible? Our top xenobiologists have been struggling with the zoo's inhabitants for cycles. Sarah shrugged, a very human gesture that seemed out of place in the grand chamber. It's hard to explain. Humans have always had a knack for understanding and connecting with other creatures. It's part of our heritage, our connection to Earth and its diverse ecosystems. Zexlor, seeing an opportunity, quickly interjected. Clearly, this is a result of draconian influence on human development. We always knew they had potential. But he was cut off by the Syrian delegate, who had been watching the scene unfold with keen interest. I think not, Ambassador. This ability seems uniquely human. In fact, it might be the very reason your people were so interested in Earth to begin with. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. The Pleiadian representative who had spoken earlier now addressed the council again. Colleagues, we are witnessing something extraordinary. This human has demonstrated an ability that could revolutionize our understanding of interspecies communication and care. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered not just Earth's status, but humanity's role in the galactic community. Sarah, still gently calming the alien creature, spoke up. If I may, esteemed council members, this is just one small example of what humanity can offer. We have a unique perspective, shaped by our planet's incredible biodiversity and our own tumultuous history. We've learned to adapt, to understand, to connect with beings very different from ourselves. She gestured to the now docile creature beside her. The challenges you face with the Galactic Zoo are just the beginning. There are countless species across the galaxy that we might be able to help, to understand in ways that others can't. The chamber buzzed with excited discussion. Many delegates were now looking at Sarah, and by extension, humanity, with new eyes. The idea of a species with such innate abilities to connect with and calm even the most dangerous creatures in the universe was tantalizing. High Counselor Aona's form pulsed with a decision. In light of these revelations, I propose we expand the scope of our earlier motion. We will not only review Earth's status, but also consider establishing a formal role for humanity in galactic affairs, particularly in the fields of xenobiology and interspecies relations. The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. Even Zexlor, recognizing the shifting political winds, voted in favor, though his expression remained guarded. As the session concluded, with plans set in motion to revolutionize humanity's place in the galaxy, Sarah found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. Delegates from across the galaxy approached her, eager to discuss the potential applications of human abilities in their own sectors. In the days that followed, Sarah was granted temporary clearance to work with the Galactic Zoo's most challenging cases. Under the watchful eyes of both council observers and draconian handlers, she moved from habitat to habitat, demonstrating an uncanny ability to soothe agitated creatures and identify the root causes of their distress. A Jovian gas giant dweller, previously thought to be dying, flourished under Sarah's care once she realized it needed specific atmospheric pressures to regulate its metabolism. A crystalline hive mind entity, which had been fracturing and self-destructing, stabilized when Sarah intuited its need for a precise harmonic resonance in its environment. As news of these successes spread, more council members began to advocate for increased human involvement in galactic affairs. The Syrian delegation proposed a joint research initiative to study human empathic abilities. The Pleiadians suggested establishing a human-led diplomatic corps, specializing in first contact situations with newly discovered species. However, not everyone was pleased with this turn of events. Zexlor watched with growing unease as Sarah's influence expanded. In private chambers, he conferred with his allies among the council. "This has gone too far," growled Casthar, a representative from a silicon-based species long aligned with the Draconians. The humans were meant to be a resource, not equals. Their sudden rise threatens the balance we've maintained for eons. Zexlor's tongue flicked out, tasting the air thick with tension. Indeed, we must act carefully. Direct opposition will only fuel their supporters' arguments. We need a more subtle approach. Grenlock, an amorphous being from the Outer Rim, oozed agreement. Perhaps we should remind the Council of humanity's volatile history, their tendency towards violence, their environmental recklessness. Surely a species so young cannot be trusted with galactic responsibilities. As they plotted, Sarah continued her work, unaware of the growing opposition. She had just finished calming a pack of energy beings that had been cannibalizing their own young when she was approached by a draconian aide. "The ambassador requests your presence," the aide said, its voice a low hiss. Sarah followed, her mind racing. Despite the successes of recent days, she hadn't forgotten her precarious position. As they entered Zexlor's temporary quarters in the council spire, she steeled herself for confrontation. Zexlor loomed over her, his scaled form backlit by the glow of distant nebulae through the viewport. "You've made quite an impression, specimen H21A7. Or should I say Sarah?" "I'm only doing what I believe is right," Sarah replied, standing her ground, "for humanity and for the galaxy at large." The ambassador's eyes narrowed. "And therein lies the problem. You overstep your bounds. Humans are not ready for the responsibilities you so eagerly grasp at. Your actions threaten a delicate balance that has existed for millennia." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, but she refused to be intimidated. "The galaxy is changing, Ambassador. Humanity has something unique to offer. We can't ignore that potential just because it doesn't fit into old power structures." Zixlor moved closer, his presence looming and threatening. "You naive child, you have no idea of the forces you're meddling with. The Draconian Imperium has guided Earth's destiny for eons. We will not relinquish that role so easily." As tension crackled between them, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the spire. A voice echoed through the communication systems. "Emergency in Sector 7 of the Galactic Zoo. All available personnel report immediately." Sarah's eyes widened. "That's where the Xenoth Hive is kept. They're highly empathic. If something's wrong, they could trigger a cascade effect through the entire zoo." Without waiting for permission, she bolted from the room, leaving a fuming Zexlor behind. As she raced towards the crisis, Sarah knew that more than just the fate of the zoo's creatures hung in the balance. The next few hours would likely determine humanity's future in the galactic community and her own destiny among the stars. Sarah raced through the winding corridors of the Galactic Zoo, her heart pounding with urgency. As she approached Sector 7, she could feel the psychic distress emanating from the Xenoth Hive. But something else caught her attention, a faint, desperate cry coming from a nearby chamber. Trusting her instincts, Sarah veered off course and burst into the room. There, trapped beneath a fallen piece of equipment, was a small, iridescent creature. With a jolt, Sarah recognized it as Lumi, the beloved pet of High Counselor Aona. Without hesitation, Sarah carefully lifted the debris, speaking soothingly to the frightened creature. "It's okay, little one. I'm here to help." Lumi, sensing Sarah's calming presence, allowed her to gently scoop it up. The creature's bioluminescent skin pulsed weakly, but Sarah could feel its life force strengthening in her arms. With Lumi secure, Sarah rushed to the Xenoth Hive. Using her unique abilities, she projected a sense of calm and safety, gradually soothing the agitated hive mind. As the Xenoth settled, the cascading panic throughout the zoo subsided. Word of Sarah's heroics spread quickly. By the time she emerged from Sector 7, exhausted but triumphant, a crowd had gathered. High Counselor Aona herself was there, her crystalline form shimmering with relief and gratitude as Sarah returned Lumi to her. "You have done more than save my companion," Aona's harmonic voice resonated. "You have demonstrated, beyond any doubt, the unique value of humanity to our galactic community." In the emergency session that followed, the Council voted overwhelmingly to recognize Earth and humanity as an independent, protected species. A new charter was drawn up, explicitly freeing humans from any claims of ownership or governance by other species. Zexlor, seething but powerless against the tide of popular opinion, was forced to watch as his claim to Earth was officially revoked. The draconian delegation left the chamber in barely concealed fury. As the implications of the decision sank in, Sarah noticed a mix of reactions among the other council members. Some seemed genuinely pleased, while others, those who had harbored their own designs on Earth, huffed in disappointment. A Centaurian delegate, its 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession, muttered to its aide, "With the draconians out of the way, we could have pressed our own historical claim to the Sol system. Now that's impossible." An Andromedan representative, overhearing this, chimed in with a sigh. Indeed, Earth's resources and its species' unique abilities could have been a valuable asset, but now they'll be charting their own course. Sarah, catching snippets of these conversations, felt a mix of pride and determination. She approached the center of the chamber, addressing the council once more. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and confident. "I understand that this decision may disappoint some who saw Earth as a potential resource or colony, but I assure you, an independent humanity will be a far more valuable ally than a subjugated one." She gestured around the room, making eye contact with various delegates. "Our ability to connect with and understand diverse life forms, our adaptability, our creativity, these are gifts we can share freely with the galactic community. Not as servants or pets, but as partners and friends." High Counselor Aona's form pulsed with approval. "Well said, Sarah of Earth. Your people have earned their place among the stars. We look forward to the day when Earth takes its seat on this council as a full member." As the session concluded, Sarah found herself surrounded by delegates, eager to establish relations with the newly recognized independent Earth. Trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and joint scientific ventures were already being proposed. In the midst of the excited chatter, Sarah caught sight of Zixlor lingering at the edge of the chamber. The draconian ambassador's eyes met hers for a moment, filled with a mix of anger and grudging respect. Then he turned and stalked away, leaving Sarah to ponder the challenges that still lay ahead. As she knew that will not be that last she would see of him. As the reptilians warned earlier, they were not giving up Earth without a fight. As she prepared to return to Earth, now as an official emissary rather than a pet, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity's journey among the stars was only just starting, full of both promise and peril. But for the first time in eons, that journey would be one of freedom. As a parting gift, the Galactic Council gave Sarah a rare artifact. It was a cube, no larger than her hands. She was given instructions, how to activate the artifact, which would make Earth's defenses repel any future attacks, while the humans prepare to push out the reptilians once and for all.